Hi, I'm Amy from Pause to Remember. This little yoga practice is for grieving around the holidays. I'm hearing from many of you that you are really not looking forward to the holidays and struggling with the thought of what is to come. I'm hearing you say that you're struggling to get out of bed, that you want to create memories for your other living children, but you don't even want to think about decorating the house or shopping for gifts, that your cup is empty and that you have nothing to give and you don't even know where to start. And for some of you, work has been really challenging lately, and you come home feeling exhausted and you think self care, oh my gosh, I don't even have time for that. So I invite you to join me on your mat right now. We'll start with a little seated meditation. We'll flow on our mats a little bit with some movement, and then we'll finish with a shavasana. And I invite you to stay for the whole shavasana where you're laying still on your back. Sometimes the stillness is harder than the movement. We'll see how you feel. Okay? So grab a blanket. You can grab a throw off the back of your couch, fold it, slide it underneath your seat for a little extra support to lift your hips up. It'll make it a little more comfortable in your lower back. And if you like to practice with a couple of yoga blocks, you certainly can. I'm going to do this practice without blocks. And if there's anything in your environment that you might hit or kick, just slide it off to the side to keep yourself safe. All right, let's begin. I invite you to let your seat drop right into the support beneath you, hands on your knees or legs. If it's comfortable and feels safe, go ahead and close your eyes. And if it's not, that's okay. Just drop your gaze down. Let it rest. You don't necessarily need to focus on anything. Just soften the gaze or close the eyes. I'm going to read a quote to you. Grief and gratitude can exist simultaneously. Hope and heartache can live in the same space. Joy and sorrow can both be present. Maybe you come to this practice feeling that grief and heartache and sorrow are the only thing you feel like you're experiencing at this time. That's okay. Give yourself permission to feel all those things. As we begin the practice, bring your awareness to your face. Allow the gripping to release from around your eyes. Unhinge your jaw. Flatten your tongue in your mouth. Allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Feel your seat widen as you drop a little more deeply down into the blanket beneath you. Notice the bend of your knees and the point in which your feet or foot makes contact with the floor. Shift your awareness up to your chest and your belly. Notice what part of your torso is moving the most with your breath. If you're struggling to figure that out, I invite you to place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. Notice what area is moving the most. On your next breath in, think about breathing forward into your hands. As you breathe out, allow your seat to sink down. And breathe in, think about breathing to the back wall behind you. And breathe out, soften down. Your next breath in, think about breathing out to the side walls, expanding your chest laterally. Breathing out, sinking, softening. Deepen your next breath, expanding it in all directions. And let it release freely out of your body. And do that a couple more times, breathing in and breathing out. Return your hands to your knees. Flutter open your eyes. Take your blanket and move it off to the back or to the side of your mat. And come to a tabletop position. Coming on your hands and your knees, stacking your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. And if you feel like you're kind of crunching down, push your hands down. Feel the support of your hands, your arms, pushing you up. On your next breath, breathe in, drop your belly, lift your heart and your gaze, cow pose. Exhale, round the back, tuck the tailbone, lift the middle of the back to the ceiling, cat pose. Repeating that, dropping the belly, lifting the heart and gaze, cow. Exhale, round the back, cat. Gaze between your feet. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Come back to that long neutral spine. Extend your right leg off out to the right side. Breathe in, shift forward. Breathe out, shift your hips back to the left heel. Drop the head. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, drop your hips down. One more time, lifting up forward. Shifting the hips back. Head drops to the floor. And come up. Come back to your tabletop position. This time, extending the left leg out to the side. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, shift the hips back. Lift up as you breathe in. Shift back as you breathe out. Breath carries you forward. Releasing the breath as you sink back, head drops. Come back up, tabletop position. Rinse it out, dropping the belly, lifting the heart, cow. Exhale, rounding the back, cat. Tabletop position. Come back, sink down onto the heels. I'm going to turn towards you here. As you breathe in, sweep the hands up. Exhale, hands to heart. Breathe in, lift up, sweep the hands. And then bring them down to heart center. One more, lift and sweep. Slide them to your heart. Beautiful. Hands spread, toes tuck under. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Bring some movement here. Allow your heels to lift and lower. Maybe you sway your hips a little bit. Bring a little fluidity to that spine. And then find yourself with a little stillness. Put a little bend in your knees. Lift the hips a little higher. Press the hands away. Drop the head. And then slowly straighten the knees. Let the heels drop. Breathe in and lift the toes. Breathe out, step to the top of the mat. Roll up one vertebrae at a time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift your gaze, palms forward, mountain pose. Keep that softness in your face. The shoulders stacked over your hips over your ankles, and your feet pressing down. Inhale, sweep the hands up, look up. Exhale, part the hands, fold forward. Lift halfway, long spine, hands to the tops of the shins. and then fold forward. Press the hands down into the mat. Step back, knees to the floor. Inhale your heart forward. Lower all the way down. Extend the legs. Elbows hugged in tight. Inhale, lift your heart, cobra. Exhale, lower down. Repeat this, lifting the heart, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, and then release it down. On your next breath in, lift the heart a little higher. Keep the elbows tucked into your sides, and then lower down. Tuck your toes under. Shift your hips to your heels. Long arms. Pause here. On your next out breath, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the toes. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Option to drop the back knee. Inhale, lift your hands up, modified crescent lunge. Exhale, drop the shoulders down. As you pause here, feel a stretching in the front of the left hip flexor, noticing your knee behind or over your right ankle. You breathe in, look up. Exhale, drop the left hand, twist around your spine, gaze towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach the right hand a little higher. Exhale, sweep it down. Come back to your tabletop position. Breathe in, cow. Breathe out, cat. Long spine. Knees together, extend the right leg parallel to the floor, drop the right hip level with the left, then cross the right foot over the left foot, gaze over the left shoulder towards the right great toe, resting on the floor. Come back, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, float the heels high. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Bring the right knee back to the floor. As you breathe in, lift the hands high. Breathe out, relax the shoulders down. This is a modified crescent lunge. Inhale, look up. Exhale, drop the right hand to the floor. Twist around your spine. Reach the left hand high. Pause here. The left hand reaches up over the left shoulder. Inhale, left hand reaches a little higher. Exhale, sweep it down. Come back to the tabletop position. Rinse it out, cow. Exhale, cat. Long neutral spine in that tabletop position. This time, extend the left leg long parallel to the floor. Drop the left hip level with the right. Long straight spine. And then cross the left leg over the right. Gaze over the right shoulder towards the left great toe that's resting on the floor. Come back to your tabletop position. Tuck your toes under. Lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Breathe in, lift your heels high. Breathe out, step or walk to the top of the mat. Roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming up all the way to the top to your mountain pose. Sweep the hands up. Exhale, sink the hips down, chair pose. If you would like to try on some cactus arms as an option, you certainly can do that. Think about your hips sinking down. If you have a big arch in your lower back, tuck the tailbone under just a little bit. See how that changes your posture. Inhale, straighten your legs, lift your hands high. Exhale, fold forward. Step the left foot behind you. Spin the heel flat so the left toes are pointing now to 10 o'clock. Right knee bends as your hands lift, warrior one. Again, if you would like to try on some cactus arms, if this feels more comfortable, as you bend the right knee, straighten the left leg, sealing the outer edge of the left foot to the mat. Pausing here. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Right knee remains bent, left leg straight, right hand forward, left hand back. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Breathe in, create space between the hands. Breathe out, drop the right forearm to the right thigh. Lift the left hand to the sky, creating that twisting sensation. Option to drop the top arm over your left ear, feeling length from the outer edge of the left foot running along the outer edge of your left leg through the torso and out through your left fingers. Inhale, lift the left hand towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands plant. Come to your tabletop position. Drop the belly, cow. Drop the head, lift the middle of the back, cat. Tabletop. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Breathing in here, lift the heels high once again. As you exhale, step or walk to the top of the mat. Feet together or hip distance apart, you choose. Roll up one vertebrae at a time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mountain pose. Inhale, hand sweep. Exhale, hip sink. Chair pose. This time feel like your hips are kind of pulling into the center, almost like somebody's pushing on the outer edges of your hips and your inner legs are pushing in together. Cactus arms are always available. I'm going to hold this here for a couple more breaths. On your next breath in, straighten the legs, reach the hands high. Exhale, fold forward. Step the right foot back. Spin the right heel to the floor, right toes point to 2 o'clock. Lift the hands up, a bend in the left knee so that the knee is just behind or over the left ankle. Warrior one pose. If you would like to cactus arms for a different position, you have that option. Inhale, reach the hands high. Exhale, open warrior two. Right toes are now perpendicular to the left toes. The hands float over the floor. The shoulders are over the hips. Breathe in, create space between your hands. Breathe out, drop the left forearm to the left thigh. Reach the right hand high. Side angle. I invite you to drop that top arm over your ear, gaze towards the ceiling. Feel the length as the outer edge of your right foot seals to the floor. A line of energy travels up the outer edge of your right leg, through your torso and out through your right fingers, reaching to the top of your mat. Breathe in, reach the right hand to the ceiling. Breathe out, sweep it down, plant it onto the floor. Tabletop position. Rinse it out, cow. Round the back, cat. Bring your great toes together, knees wide, sink down, hips to heels, child's pose. If you notice some space between your forehead and the mat, you can grab your blanket and slide it underneath your head for a little extra support. If you notice that your mind is drifting off, bring your awareness to the breath the movement of your belly between your legs, the sinking of your hips, the heaviness of your arms. And come up. If you have a little support, you can place it back off to the edge of the mat. Swing your feet around. You're going to extend the legs long. Flex the feet. Breathe in, sweep the hands up. Breathe out, fold forward. If you'd like to adjust a little bit, come up halfway. And then think about hinging at the hips, reaching the belly forward and down, and followed by the chest, the head. If you feel some twinging in your lower back or some tightness in your backs of your legs and your hamstrings, put a little bend in your knees. Give yourself that grace, paying attention to the feedback that your body is giving you, allowing that feedback to be your compass. And then come up and bend the knees. Hands reach forward and we'll lower down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you lay here on your back, wiggle your feet in so your middle fingers can graze the back of your heels. Knees and feet are about hip distance apart. Palms rest on the floor. As you breathe in, press your lower back into the floor. And as you breathe out, slowly peel your vertebrae, beginning at your sacrum, and lift one vertebrae up at a time, coming into this bridge pose. Once you get your hips floating up, think about your knees staying in line with your hips. Sometimes the hips and the knees are a little out of whack there, so just bring the knees back in line with the hips. And if you would like to intensify this a little bit, you can create a little bind with your hands underneath and allow your shoulder blades to kiss behind you. Noticing a little warmth in your thighs. If your hands are interlaced, go ahead and release them. And then slowly release your spine back down onto the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Time is on your side here. And slowly release it down with a gentle movement. Now extend the left leg long and draw your right knee into your chest. Give it a little hug. Take your left hand and guide your right knee over to the left side, creating a supine twist. Right hand off to the right side, teeing out. The left hand can just guide the left knee over to the side. If you notice that your shoulder is starting to lift up off the floor, place the right shoulder blade right back down onto the mat. You may notice you have to release the twist a little bit, and that's okay. And if you want to intensify the twist a little bit, turn your gaze over to your right hand. Notice any sensations that are predominant as you create this supine twist. Release the knee, rolling back over, flat on your back. Draw your knees in, just kind of reset a little bit here. Then you can roll to the left or the right. A little massage for your spine. And release the right leg long, keeping the left knee hugged into your belly and your chest. And then with your right hand, guide the left knee over to the right side. Tee the left arm out. If you want to shift your right hip over a little bit towards the center of the mat, sometimes that's kind of nice. Keep the left shoulder on the floor To intensify this, you can turn your gaze over to the left hand. Notice any sensations that are different on this side of your body as you twist in a different direction. Same posture, different experience. Just like grieving. We're all grieving, but we all experience it in a different way. And then release the knee. You can give those knees another little hug there. And roll to the left and to the right. And drop the feet to the floor. As you breathe in, sweep the hands up overhead, reach them high, point the toes, and then exhale to soften. As we prepare for our final resting pose, if you would like to take your blanket, you can either slide it underneath your knees. Sometimes when we get really stressed, our iliopsoas kind of shortens a little bit, and putting a little bend in the knees and taking the hamstrings and kind of pulling them out and up to kind of align the knees, pointing towards the ceiling is a nice option. And if you have any neck sensitivities, you can certainly take your blanket and slide it underneath your head, creating a little notch underneath your neck. Palms to the ceiling. If your legs are unsupported, you may notice your feet opening up. As you lay here, come back to the idea of your awareness being almost like a superpower. Release the gripping around your eyes. Unhinge your jaw. Flatten your tongue in your mouth. Allow an openness in your chest for warmth to surround your heart. Notice the soft rise and fall of your belly. Your seat sinking down into the earth. Your legs are soft and heavy. Your body is supported. Notice the silence of this moment. There is nothing to change. Simply lay here as you are. Deepen your next breath. Bring some movement to your fingers and to your toes. Bending your knees, roll to your most comfortable side. You can pause there. And when you're ready, push yourself up to a seated position. As we close this practice, know that grief, and gratitude, hope and heartache, joy and sorrow can coexist. And sometimes in the midst of longing for your baby, wishing things had turned out differently, that feeling of grief, heartache, and sorrow are the predominant feelings. And sometimes letting go of thinking about what things have happened in the past and letting the worries about tomorrow fade away as you come back to the present moment, using your body as an anchor or your breath as an anchor. Hopefully the space that you've created in the moment as we've moved through this practice on your mat has been a safe space for you to feel, to notice, to create presence. Bring your hands to your heart. May this practice offer you some support. If you are a healthcare provider grieving a baby during this holiday season, please know that you are not alone and you are welcome in the community. I will place a little link in the show notes if you would like to figure out ways to connect with the community. Just know that we are here for you. Thumb knuckles to your third eye. Namaste.